In this video, I'm going to compare and contrast Create Studio with other 2D animation alternatives. This is to make sure you're getting the right product in the course. This is a course about Create Studio, not animation in general. Now let's begin by looking at the two major 2D animation software categories. The first is professional, which I call hard 2D animation because it's so hard to use. And then the other is amateur easy 2D animation, and this is the category in which Create Studio falls. Now let's look at the professional 2D animation first. There's three big players in this area. The first is Moho 14. Now they brag that they've got Academy Award quality animation. Some of the animations they've done have actually won Academy Awards. So this is really high quality, high-end automation software. Now I have a Udemy course on Moho 12, I think, if you're interested in Moho. But if you're interested in doing quick animation, then you're going to be more interested in Create Studio. The other is Cartoon Animator 4. Now that just came out. It used to be called Crazy Talk Animator 3, and this is a little bit easier, but it's still pretty complicated. You don't see it out there, professionals using it. It's more of an amateur type of thing, but if you want to kind of go medium hard. And then the industry standard is Toon Boom Harmony, and it's extremely expensive. Now all of these options are fairly expensive. You're talking about with Moho, I think $250 to $300, $200 for Cartoon Animator, and Toon Boom Harmony I think goes up to $500 to $700. So these are professional quality and expensive solutions. You're probably not interested in those if you're looking at this course. Now one of the benefits to these solutions is that you can illustrate and animate any character. The downside is that you got to rig the character. That means that you create a bone structure for the character and you bind it to the illustration so that when you move the bones, the illustration moves. And you can animate with actions and by positioning limbs. Now you can create any animation you want. You can illustrate anything you want, but it's very complicated and time consuming. This is used for like animated movies, if you're doing real quality stuff. Now here I wanted to give you an example of rigging. Here's a bone structure within Moho. And what you do is you define how all these bones work. You got to go through and rig, and then you got to bind them to your illustration and make sure your illustration lines up with the bones. And then you've got to move arms and stuff if you're doing actions that aren't canned actions provided by the product. So it's very complicated and time consuming. The other alternative is what I call amateur easy 2D animation. Now the first product I want to talk about is Doodly. And this is for doing doodle animations. It supports both text and graphics, and it's when the hand comes onto the screen and you see it holding a pen and it draws things on the screen. Doodly is probably the #1 product for doing this. And another option is Toonly. This is very basic 2D animation. Now I believe Doodly and Toonly are both by the same company called Brixley or something, a very good company, quality software. Now the final alternative is Create Studio. I think that this is the most powerful of the options, yet it's very easy. It includes 3D character animation, text animation. It does doodle text, not doodle graphics. It does camera animation, and it even includes text to speech. It's probably the least expensive of the options as well, especially with the offer I'm going to give you in this course in just the next lecture, I believe. Now, Doodly is the best software for doing doodle videos only. That's all it does is doodle videos. So the hand comes and it draws graphics and it draws text. Toonly and Create Studio used fixed characters and actions. So you can't use any character you want and have it do anything you want. You get a fixed set of characters, a lot of them in the case of Create Studio, and a fixed set of actions, and a lot of actions in the case of Create Studio. So you can create only the animations provided. They're extremely easy to use, and they're used primarily for promotional video stuff instead of making movies. Now I want to talk about why I like Create Studio. It's fast and easy animation, just like all of the amateur 2D animation solutions. But it's powerful. It seems to be the most powerful of all the options. There are plenty of animation resources, and it's growing daily. It directly incorporates Pixabay, pixels, and audio into the product, so you don't have to go outside and search Pixabay. You can search from within Create Studio. I think that's really cool. It sounds like a minor feature, but it speeds things up quite a bit. It provides excellent software quality. I've never had the product crash on me. I've had a PowerPoint crash on me. I've had my Windows 10 system crash on me. It seems like every piece of software crashes eventually. I've never had Create Studio crash. And to support that excellent quality statement, I want to show you, you can go and you can look at the changelog. Check out this changelog. Now, I'm producing this course in late December of 2020. You can see there was just a release on the 26th. There was one on the 22nd. There was one in November. 3 releases in October. And these include bug fixes and features. So the first number is always 1. That's the major release number. The second is features. So you can see they've gone from 6 to 7 from October to November. So features came out there. And then the final number is bug fixes. So 1.7.1 to 1.7.2 was bug fixes. And you can actually see what the fixes are. It's a very stable product, very well supported. And support is available online via email, and they're very responsive. This is probably also the least expensive solution, as you're going to see in the next lecture. Now, I want to summarize what we've gone over here. If you want professional 2D animation, I'd go with Moho or Toon Boom Harmony. If you want somewhat easier 2D animation, Cartoon Animator 4. If you want to do doodle videos, I think Doodly is probably the best. And then if you want an easy, simplified 2D animation solution, Toonly or Create Studio are your options. And if you're just doing YouTube videos and promotional videos and stuff like that, intros, outros, logo animation, then these two are probably Toonly or Create Studio is what you're looking for. I prefer Create Studio. And with that said, in the next lecture, we're going to go over the course resources. I'm going to provide you an incredible offer to get Create Studio really inexpensively. I'll see you there.